The expansion of the American West rested on a grueling, invisible engine of labor. While history focuses on shootouts and gold rushes, the physical work of pioneer women provided the actual foundation for expansion. Margaret Jane Klingensmith, born in 1863, represents this reality. Effectively orphaned as a child, she spent her early years not in a classroom, but in a subterranean dirt dugout in southern Utah. With zero capital and no safety net, Margaret's survival depended entirely on the relentless mechanics of her own hands. Her childhood labor was a masterclass in frontier endurance. She hauled water to hand-wash heavy factory clothes for her cousins and spent her days cleaning, sorting, and braiding stiff, gathered straw. She mastered the physical sequence of textile manufacturing, taking raw wool straight off a sheep's back, washing it in wooden tubs, carding the fibers, and spinning the material into cloth. This lack of formal schooling forced Margaret into a life of concrete, physical problem-solving, creating the skill set that would define her adult survival strategies. At 19, Margaret married Alma Platt Spilsbury and joined a wagon migration toward the harsh deserts of Arizona. Survival on the trail required mechanical ingenuity. Margaret used the rhythmic, bumping movement of the wagon to physically churn a jar of milk into butter during the journey. When they reached Mesa, they had exactly $5 and a single adobe room with a floor of loose, dusty earth. Margaret hauled buckets of water and mopped the loose soil repeatedly, compacting the mud until it hardened into a smooth, stone-like surface. Habitable architecture in the desert only existed through this kind of physical repetition, manually transforming a hostile environment into a home. After moving to colonize Old Mexico, Margaret expanded her labor into a diversified production economy. She developed her own textile chemistry, using raw sulfur in old metal tanks to bleach corn shucks and straw for manufacturing hats. She tanned raw deer hides by hand, crafting the fringed, embroidered gloves that local freighters relied on for their work. To clothe her daughters, she traded labor for discarded premium dresses, disassembling the garments and reversing the fabric to retailor new outfits. She also functioned as the community's undertaker, drafting patterns to line wooden coffins and physically dressing the dead for burial. This self-taught microeconomy functioned as a complete industrial system, keeping her entire family solvent and alive. This diagram shows the brutal arithmetic of frontier motherhood. Out of Margaret's 10 children, 5 data markers on this timeline fade prematurely. The losses peaked when her husband died in a wagon accident on a mountain dugway, leaving her alone. The subsequent Mexican Revolution destroyed her remaining stability, forcing her to abandon her home and flee as a refugee. No amount of personal industry or craftsmanship could fully shield a pioneer from the legal volatility of the era. Margaret's final years were spent in Los Angeles, where she faced the economic collapse of the Great Depression. After a lifetime spent building homes from the dirt up, Margaret died alone in a rest home on Christmas Eve. The American West was stitched, canned, woven, and built into existence by the relentless force of women like Margaret. Her legacy survives in the tangible skills and deep reverence passed down to the daughters who remembered the specific work of her hands.